Just like in last week's episode, I've got another corker of a spoiler to kick things off with in this week's episode. Are you ready for this? Lord John Grey and young Willie are back. Hello folks, how are you doing? Welcome to today's episode of the vlog where we discuss episode 406 of Outlander, season 4, episode 6, Blood of My Blood. It is great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Shaun and I'm a vlogger from Edinburgh in Scotland. I talk all about Scottish culture on this channel. I talk about Scottish adventures and travel on this channel. At this stage, I hope you've already hit the subscribe button on this channel. But listen, something else I need to kick off with. If you don't already know this, I also have another channel, Adventure Everything, where I tell you the behind the scenes story of my life, my travels, my adventures. It's Adventure Everything, which a lot of you guys already know is my motto. I would absolutely love if some of you guys would come over there to my other channel and hit the subscribe button. The link is down below and up above. You'll find it. Subscribe to that channel and come follow me on my other adventures as well. And also don't forget guys, I'd love to continue the Outlander discussion with yous all over on Instagram. My handle is @ShaunVlog. It would be great to have you guys there. Right, episode 406, Blood of My Blood. That was an interesting episode. Right from the beginning, from the very first start of the episode, Lord John Grey appears. It is great to have Lord John Grey back again. He's a great character that everybody who loves Outlander also loves. A big part throughout the seasons, and he's never really left our mind since Ardmere prison, I would say. And he's back, and he has brought Willie with him, young Willie, which is Lord John Grey's adopted son, but we all know it's actually Jamie's son. Yep, David Berry, the actor that plays Lord John Grey, back on our screens. It is great to have him back. He's looking well for now. Claire and Murtagh are off into the woods. Murtagh's in it as well. Again, we see Murtagh. He stayed at Fraser's Ridge, at least for now. But we get the inclination early on that that might not stay forever because, like he says to Claire, he has got somewhere to be, he's got an office, he's got work to do as a regulator. I spoke about this last week, that I was worried that Murtagh would be coming into this season just so that we know that he's alive and well in the New World, in America, and then he will at some point drop off, be killed, or I don't know what. And I'm guessing that would be because of his activities as a regulator, which essentially going to be an outlaw because they're going up against the British establishment again. That does not end well for a lot of the people involved in those rebellions. But like a lot of you guys did say in your comments last week on my episode, that it's in Murtagh's blood to be a rebel. He is always going to be the one that fights for justice. And the Scottish Highlanders who had settled in this region in North Carolina, they were being met with really harsh and unfair taxes. And that's what they were standing up against. And Murtagh, true to how he is as a person, was the one leading that charge, and he said he had to be back to that. We still don't know at the end of the episode whether Murtagh will stay long term or not. I'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, Claire and Murtagh run through the woods and they come across young Willie, or William as he prefers to be called now. He's grown up a lot, hasn't he? The last we saw William at Hellswater, he was just a young lad. I think they've done a really good job of bringing an actor in that looks really similar to the original Willie, and also who looks really similar to Jamie as well. I don't know what you guys think about that. That's going to be a debate that rages online, but I thought he looked pretty similar. He acted so well, this kid, and he does look like Jamie. I think in particular they've done a really good job of making his hair almost exactly the same as Jamie's. You can just tell that they are father and son, right? They bring him back and then you get the big meeting with Jamie and Willie yet again. Jamie, Claire and Murtagh not to say anything to young Willie about where he came from and their time at Ardmere prison and that kind of stuff. They want to keep it a secret, so young Willie's head is not filled with that kind of stuff. They're just free to go on. He's just there on a trip really. But back to Murtagh. He knows that he has to behave himself in that meeting in Fraser's Ridge in the log cabin, right? Well, he's with Lord John Grey, but he just can't help himself about the unfair taxes that the Scottish people are paying to Governor Tyrone, and Murtagh struggles to keep a lid on it. Bless him, we all love Murtagh. He sticks to his guns, and he ends up storming out the house, and I was thinking he's going to take off there and then. He doesn't, but it does bring the question back. Murtagh, what is his future in this series? I think he's going to continue to be one of the leaders of this movement, this rebel movement, the regulators, and I think that is going to lead to him getting in some kind of bother, a serious bother, sometime down the line with the likes of the Governor Tyrone. Maybe that's how Murtagh ends up exiting this series. I don't know, I hope it's not the case, but It does just seem that way to me. Anyway, there's a private moment where Jamie takes Willie out to the privy, to the toilet that they've built in the back garden, right? We're thinking that Willie doesn't actually remember Jamie, but then when they get outside, he actually does. He talks about it and says, "Why, Jamie, do you not remember me? Why didn't you say anything?" And you can just tell from this moment on, it's going to be one of those episodes that's going to be quite emotional for people who are really invested in those characters. We saw how difficult it was for Jamie to leave the young boy back in season 3. That was a hard episode to watch, and we kind of feel like this is all going to be repeated again in this episode. What is Lord John Grey's purpose of bringing the boy back? It's not a good thing, because ultimately Jamie would have wanted to see him and want to see how he's getting on in life. Wants to see Lord John Grey, his good friend as well. Anyway, just as it's time for Lord John Grey and Willie to leave Fraser's Ridge to go on with their journey onto their estate, I can't remember where it was, in another state anyway, they're about to go, but Lord John Grey is sick.
Measles epidemic in Cross Creek. Did you travel through that? He's very infectious.
Claire knows what it is. It's measles, because he passed through the same region where the Germans the week before had got ill as well. Lord John Grey is ill and Claire is going to have to look after him. Willie is not protected against the measles. He will catch it as well, so they separate. Jamie's like, "Come on, Willie, we're going to go and tour Fraser's Ridge, around the lands, go camping for a few days, out under the stars." You know, I think it was just really nice to see the resumption of the relationship between Jamie and Willie when they're out in the woods and camping and stuff. They really get to know each other again. They go fishing. I thought the fishing scene was great. I thought it was a really cool scene when Jamie tickled the trout. I don't know if you guys know about tickling trout, right? But it's this thing where basically if you put your hands underneath a trout in the water and tickle its belly, it basically becomes paralysed. So you can grab it and take it out. That's how people used to fish in Scotland. That is so cool that they actually put that in the show. There was actually a pub where I used to live, where I grew up in Edinburgh. There was a pub called the Tickled Trout because it was a place where they used to do that. It was also really cool when they went hunting as well, got the deer, and Jamie was showing them how you prepare venison for eating. But I think the backbone of this episode really was the relationship that was about to build up between Lord John Grey and Claire, because those two had never really spent much time together in any episode. Not that we'd seen, but we know that they know well about each other. Lord John Grey obviously knows that Claire is his wife, Jamie's wife, and like that's something that is obviously a problem for him because of his romantic feelings toward Jamie. And Claire knows all about his romantic feelings towards Jamie and knows that Lord John Grey was kind of there to unsettle him somehow. So they had it out. They had a really, really tense few days. Throughout a couple of days where Jamie and young Willie were out camping, Lord John Grey and Claire basically had it out. And like you could see their relationship for the first ever time in this whole series. I don't know how it played out in the books, but for the first time we're seeing those having a relationship of some sorts, and it's not a good one. Lord John Grey accuses Claire of being jealous, which she absolutely to me appears to be. Claire accuses him of basically being there in Fraser's Ridge to unstabilize Jamie and like try and get something with him. You can kind of see both sides in this. Lord John Grey should really know that nothing would ever really happen romantically with Jamie. And Claire, I think she is acting a bit jealous because she should know as well that Jamie would never ever do anything. But then Lord John Grey, in the height of his fever, drops a bombshell and reveals what Jamie had offered him in return for Lord John Grey taking care of Willie. Right? That was something that Claire, I don't think, was expecting. And I want to say, right, throughout this whole scene, or these scenes of Lord John Grey and Claire discussing this, the acting was absolutely amazing. The emotions on both of their faces was utterly incredible, both from David Berry and also Katrina. They were both absolutely sensational in this whole part where they were locked in the cabin. Lord John Grey was on his bed, sweating it out basically as he was being tended to Claire, and they were discussing some really heavy things about like sexuality, for example. I don't think that's really been discussed in this way in the series so far. Lord John Grey opening up about him being born that way, and like it was just a really emotional sequence of scenes. It was utterly incredible. I thought, like, in terms of acting, in terms of how emotions were portrayed, that was something to behold. And it probably should be no surprise for us that Katrina has just been nominated for the 4th time in a row for a Golden Globe. 4th time in a row, and we think that this might be her first time of actually winning, for sure. She has been incredible throughout the seasons, and like, I think that episode today when she was in the cabin speaking to Lord John Grey about the relationships between Jamie and like this love triangle that they have, I thought that was absolutely sensational, and that is why she should be absolutely a winner. Of course, Sam playing Jamie is incredible as well and should be winning Golden Globes as well, and the rest of them. These scenes don't happen on their own. Lord John Grey was there, and without David Berry acting that scene wouldn't have been as powerful as it was. It was a teamwork piece and it was incredible. I really enjoyed that today in this episode. But yeah, it was quite a bombshell for Claire, learning that Jamie had basically offered his body over to Lord John Grey. She didn't know that. It was information that was new to her. I wondered how she might confront Jamie with that at one point, but she didn't. Lord John Grey basically admitted to the fact that he didn't come to Fraser's Ridge only to introduce Willie as an older boy now to Jamie and Claire. He was also there because he wanted to feel something more for Jamie, to see if he could, because we learned that Isabel had died. Really sad. Willie's mum and his wife, she had died, and he said that he didn't feel anything about it. So he was there in Fraser's Ridge to find out if he could feel again, because he knew he loved Jamie, and like that is how that was going to come out. So I thought that was really interesting. I'd love to know what you guys think about that whole sequence. I thought it was incredible. Really good acting and touched on some really heavy subjects. But then we're back in the woods again with Jamie and Willie. We knew that Willie eventually was going to run off, right? It was bound to happen. He was worried about his dad, his papa, and he ran off from Jamie. He went off, he wanted to catch a fish like Jamie had caught, and he found a fish in a river. Jamie catches up with him, but it was the Indians' fish.
Look what I found.
Shouldn't be here.
Savages.
The boy took fish from the place, the Cherokee.
We thought that was going to lead to some severe problems for the both of them, but the Indians, they respected that wee Willie had been bold and brave and owned up to what he had done by taking the fish from their lands. They said they needed blood and revenge, and what they did, they took a cup from his hand, and that was the blood revenge that they got. I think it's fascinating throughout to see the Native Americans and how they're coming into this, and how that is being portrayed between Fraser's Ridge and the land that the Crown had claimed, the land of the Native Americans, and how those boundaries are mixing. I think it's just an interesting play. I have to admit, for those of us that are not book readers like myself, we come to the point of thinking that Lord John Grey is so feverish that he's actually going to die. Is this where Lord John Grey leaves? And maybe young Willie becomes adopted by Jamie and Claire? Is that what's going to happen? Lord John Grey thankfully makes a full recovery thanks to Claire's help. Willie and Jamie go back to the cabin, and there's another really good scene, intense scene between Jamie and Murtagh, where he tells him about the wee boy Willie being his son.
He's yours. You must keep this to yourself.
That's when Murtagh, as much as he wants to get something out of Lord John Grey because of his work that he does as a regulator, he starts to feel a wee bit compassion for Jamie and his friendliness towards Lord John Grey, who is a redcoat, who is like the sworn enemy in Murtagh's eyes, right? He's a sworn enemy, and Jamie's like all friendly with him, but he starts to understand why now, and he knows that Willie is Jamie's son. Anyway, they leave Fraser's Ridge, and you see Willie looking back at Jamie the way that Jamie didn't do it at Hellswater. Back in season 3 when Jamie left, he didn't look back at Willie when he was leaving for the last time. And then it was a nice touch when Willie did actually look back and smiled back at Jamie and Claire as he left. Because wee Willie, his face had been sour throughout this episode. Like, he, as I say, he acted stuck up, the wee lord that he was, right? And then towards the end, he had warmed to Jamie, had given him a hug, and he had started smiling. And I'm just now thinking to myself, Lord John Grey and Willie are off to their estate, wherever it is, right? Are we ever going to see them again? I hope we do. I hope Willie becomes a part of this somehow, now that they know that everybody's in the same part of the world. And given what just happened to Lord John Grey, Jamie must surely be thinking to himself, he knows how dangerous it can be in these parts. He must surely be slightly more concerned about young Willie's place in this new world. So I think we will see them again. I hope we do. And this episode, I think it was really good. I enjoyed it simply for the fact of the character development and kind of getting to learn things between Claire and Lord John Grey and young Willie coming back into it, and learning a little bit more about Murtagh as well. But at the same time, it was also kind of slow. And guys, listen, I said this over the last couple of weeks, Outlander season 4, I have not been enjoying it as much as I enjoyed seasons 1, 2, and 3. And I can't put my finger on it. It is slower, but I'm not sure that that's what it is. Like I said, a big part of the character of Outlander for me has been Scotland. That is why I fell in love with Outlander. If I'm being totally honest, the reason that Outlander caught my attention is because it was a series all about Scotland, in Scotland, with like places I could identify with the clan system. I was learning about the clan system. That's why I fell in love with Outlander. That's why I signed up to Outlander. And now we're on this kind of journey of colonizing North America. I just don't feel as connected to that story. It doesn't intrigue me as much. And guys, I am not saying I'm going to abandon Outlander. I'm going to continue watching it week in, week out. But if I'm being totally honest with you guys, I do find it not being as exciting to me as it used to be. I used to love Outlander so much. It was my top show, absolutely favourite thing to watch, mostly because of this connection to Scotland. And now I absolutely find it slipping down my list in the shows that I like to watch. It's hard for me to say this, but I have to be honest and be absolutely true with you on that. Of course, it's great to see these characters progress and where they go in their life. But like for me, Outlander was amazing when we had like characters like Dougal, Rupert and Angus, you know, just ripping through people with their swords and their axes and stuff, terrorising the glens. That was Outlander to me. And now it's different. It really is different. And I know people progress, the story must progress, but I am feeling less and less drawn to it than I was. It is difficult for me to put this into words and explain it, but yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I'd love to know what you guys think of that down in the comments down below. I'm really sorry if that disappoints, but I have to be honest, I have to be true to how I feel about this. Maybe things will turn around. Sam Hewen on Twitter said that this was one of his favourite episodes to work on, but he also said at the end of the tweet that this is the beginning of the madness. What does that mean? Does that mean things are going to start getting really, really crazy? We have got Brianna and Roger to look forward to. Brianna is surely going to be coming through the stones in the next episode, I would think. I was actually really surprised that we didn't see her today. Next week, I think, is all going to be about that story of Brianna making it back through the stones, and maybe Roger as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But that was it, guys. My reaction to episode 406. But like I said, I'm just not feeling the connection that I used to feel with this show. I am not going to abandon it. I'm going to keep watching it. It's just not my favourite thing to watch right now. That does not mean that I don't think that the characters are amazing and the acting is incredible. The set is absolutely sublime. All these things are amazing. Outlander, the people behind it, the actors and like the producers and the set creators, they do such a great job. It's like amazingly produced. But I think we can all admit that Scotland was like the third character. Jamie and Claire, obviously the main role. Scotland was a very, very close third, and that has kind of been ripped away from me. And I do feel myself feeling a bit bereft about that. So we'll just have to see how I feel going on, right? We'll have to keep playing it week by week. But listen, I've got a lot of awesome things coming up this week. I'm looking forward to getting into some topics I've been wanting to talk about on my channel for quite a long time, starting tomorrow. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about all this. Please do leave your comments down below. Get in touch with me on Instagram, get in touch with me on Twitter. I would love to continue this debate. Do any of you guys feel the same way as me, or is it just me? I would love to know that. I surely can't be the only person that feels this way. It's great to talk Outlander with you guys every single week on this show. Don't forget, guys, to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Share this video with any Outlander friends and groups you're involved with. Don't forget to check out my Adventure Everything daily life vlogs down below as well. And until the next Outlander adventure, I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is wherever you are in the world. Take care.